The story is set in a world where demons are said to be inhumane beings residing in hell. These demons are said to defy all logic and reason coming their way. Remember one thing before we dive any deeper, that the demons brought chaos to the human world, and so they're now labeled as the enemies of humanity. The story begins with our main character, Alto, who is required to summon and create a contract with a familiar at the Ortigia Academy of Magic, or risk receiving a failing grade. After failing the summoning ritual in his first attempt, he finds an old book and uses the spell inside to call forth Vermeil, a completely naked demon girl. Of course, as all succubus demonesses do, Vermeil kisses him to drain his mana. But afterwards, she promises to serve him as a token of her appreciation for his summoning her out of captivity. She tries to flirt with him, but he rejects her and forces her to don his sister's outfit and shoes. She hides her horns and tails to pass for humans when he introduces her to the class as his familiar. In an act of nothing but petty, unfiltered jealousy, Alto's childhood friend, Lilia, who seems to have her heart out for Alto, challenges them to a battle. If she wins, Alto will avoid Vermeil and never spend any time with her. If he wins, Lilia will become Alto's lackey and follow his every command. Sylphid, Lilia's familiar, launches a devastating wind strike, which Vermeil easily parries before using magic to make Lilia so, excited that she forfeits the battle. Lilia is now being bossed around by Alto, who tells her to be Vermeil's friend. Later that day, Vermeil claims that Lilia is in love with Alto, but he really doesn't believe anything she says, as he's still distrustful of her. As we see Alto feeling a bit mistrustful of Vermeil, she straight up drains him once again with a kiss and claims she must do this or else she will vanish. Vermeil stuns everyone by flicking her finger to send a raging dragon hurling into the horizon. Alto chastises her for making a spectacle of herself, but the owner of the dragon and his older brother Rex attempt to intimidate them with Rex's dinosaur companion, but Vermeil boasts Alto's mana, enabling him to overpower them with his crystal magic. I guess I didn't think I'd see Alto overpowering prehistoric creatures here today, but I'll be damned. The following day, Vermeil, Alto, and Lilia see their pals Marx and Cheryl before the headmaster calls them and announces that the class representatives will be the one who can recover a fairy flower from the forest. A race to the fairy flower begins. Marx is knocked unconscious during the race by a man-eating plant, leaving Cheryl to tend to him. Lilia consumes an invisibility potion after the others discover a cold-ridden Cerberus guarding the bloom. Her clothes, however, are completely unaffected, so she's compelled to throw them away. Seems like this show just keeps finding a way to throw clothes off women. Since one of the Cerberus's heads was functioning properly and allowed it to detect Vermeil, Alto and Vermeil decide that they must knock it out, and they do exactly that to Cerberus. The flower is then obtained by Lilia, but the invisibility fades. Well, who could have seen that coming? She drops the flower out of embarrassment, and it blows into Cheryl's hands. The others congratulate her once she wins the job. Cheryl is now class representative. For the first time, Vermeil enjoys eating contemporary cuisine. The Dragon Riders then come by, and everyone comments on Chris, who's one of them. Vermeil creates a stir by entering the boys' locker area after Alto. She wants him so badly she's willing to walk into a place as horrifying as the boys' locker room. That is some dedication. Later, Vermeil makes another seduction attempt on Alto when he's in the shower. Of course, since Rex lost to Alto and because his familiar is a dinosaur rather than a dragon, Chris beats him up and kicks him out of the Dragon Riders. Alto yells at Chris to a duel. He's pissed after finding out what transpired. After accepting, Chris summons her dragon. Alto's mana is amplified by Vermeil, but Chris's fire spells are strong enough to break Alto's crystal structures and harm Vermeil when she blocks them. Chris soars into the skies on her dragon, proclaiming that all other creatures, even dinosaurs, are inferior, and that dragons are the supreme beings. Alto receives yet another boost from Vermeil, who's out to disprove her, and he creates a huge crystal construct out of thin air. By using the construct as a diversion, Alto and Vermeil are able to leap up to Chris and slay her with a crystal shiv, winning the combat. Lilia seems genuinely jealous of Alto because of his success with the ladies, but during his celebrations of the win, Professor Obsidian warns Alto not to take battles lightly. Chris apologizes to Rex and completes her own responsibilities, which is weird because I thought Chris would forever remain a prick. Alto forbids Vermeil from kissing him, so she confesses her love when she makes another attempt to seduce him. Obsidian responds that demons only desire humans for mana when Alto comes to him and inquires about human-demon romances. Vermeil is confronted by Alto, but she disproves him by giving him a kiss without depleting him. Meanwhile, now we see Professor Obsidian seducing a student instead. Everyone at this academy is just out for it. Her name was Emma Abilene. After seducing her, he then injects her with something and leaves her encased in ice. The student council debates whether Emma is the third student to have been attacked after she's saved but is left in a coma. Report writing assignments about familiars are given to the class. Alto hesitantly takes Vermeil's body measurements. After entrusting Cheryl with her clothes, Lilia enviously uses the invisibility potion to spy on them. Alto lists sweets as Vermeil's preference on his report, but Vermeil also adds Alto. Meanwhile, Chris and her dragon were attacked by a Rex who appeared to be under the influence of something. In a flashback, we see that Chris assisted Rex in hatching his summoned dinosaur while he thought it was a dragon egg. Meanwhile, Vermeil humiliates Alto by displaying public adoration, and Rex's brother then comes to them and implores them for their assistance. Chris can withstand Rex's fire spells and his body is beginning to morph as she continues to beat him up. Rex declares that he wants to exact revenge on Chris as well as his brother, Alto and Vermeil, but Elena, the head of the student council, shows there and uses her sword to knock Rex and his dinosaur out cold, obliterating their different growths. Chris keeps his eye on Rex in the hospital. Vermeil leaves as a test is about to start, and Lilia is delighted to study with Alto alone. It seems like she's been waiting for this opportunity for generations at this point, but good for her. Let's go, Lilia. When Vermeil and Obsidian first meet, she informs him that he is the one attacking the students and begs him to stop. However, after injecting her with something that hurts, he leads her to unleash dark energy. Everyone can see it, and Elena runs to the area, but she's stopped by a creature Obsidian conjured. Vermeil turns into an untamed monster, and Obsidian gloats as Alto dashes to the scene. Obsidian's monster, which regenerates after each attack, is fought by Elena. To control Vermeil, Obsidian ties a magic chain around her neck. It's all a bit freaky at this point. Obsidian boasts that he was attacking individuals and injecting them with demon essence in order to make them into demons. But now he has a true demon as Alto and Lilia come. Alto covers Obsidian when Vermeil breaks the chain and attacks, but he's stabbed by her claws as she attacks. She approaches Obsidian once more out of wrath, but Alto once again blocks her and warns her not to murder before passing out. Vermeil resumes her natural state, and then heals Alto right afterwards. Obsidian freaks out, claiming that demons aren't supposed to be able to heal, before injecting his own body with the mixture and changing into an ugly demon and threatening to kill everyone. Now he's just overreacting. He's easily punched through by Vermeil though, and he goes flying away in a bit of fear, and Vermeil knocks him unconscious and Chris shoots him down. It seems like he didn't think his plan through with that one. The beast that Elena was fighting flees. All of Obsidian's victims awaken from their comas as he's being apprehended. Later, Vermeil somberly informs Alto that in order to heal him, she connected their life energy, such that if either of them passes away, the other will as well. Vermeil suddenly turns chilly towards Alto. She advises him to keep away from her because she's a monster in disguise, and that's who she really is. She becomes completely confused as Alto kisses her and replies that he doesn't care about any of that. Well, Vermeil, you're in, champ. Grab him. While the lads cry because Vermeil stopped showing up to class, the girls lament the passing of Obsidian. When Lilia first encounters Vermeil, she tells him that despite being a demon, she's not wicked, and that she trusts Alto to govern her if she ever loses control again. Alto and Vermeil make up and share a kiss when Vermeil enters the room. Obsidian was a fool, but his research was interesting, and they'll finish it, said a witch and a warlock named Leote and Heliodor after slaying a church's occupants. To the twisted delight of the boys, Vermeil changes into a school uniform that's a little bit too small for her and joins Alto in class. Today, she's decided to show off. The two are abruptly detained by the student council. Elaine apologizes for being unable to aid them in their fight against Obsidian and informs them that the latter has fled from custody. All of a sudden, they seize Alto by the sword and demand the truth. They have no other option except to admit that Vermeil is a demon, and that their life forces are intertwined. Jessica, a member of the student council, wants to eliminate Vermeil, therefore she's astonished when Elena accepts this and says Vermeil's not wicked. Alto is then welcomed to the student council by Elena. Things start getting a bit serious at this point as Alto accepts Elena's offer despite being dubious of her intentions. This makes Lilia, Marks, and Cheryl happy. Later, Vermeil cautions him that she thinks Elena is not human. The two watch Elena, Chris, and Jessica change after they enter a council meeting. Elena and Chris say that it was their fault for not locking the door while Jessica panics. Elena displays a fragment of the monster she fought. Inspecting it, they discover a form of magic they've never seen before. In the meantime, Kohaku Miya, the creature's master, greets Lolite and Heliodor. She becomes upset when Lolite admits she killed a potential recruit before he and Heliodor depart to hunt down Alto and Vermeil. In his dream, Alto sees a young Vermeil wailing in a burned-out city. A dark image for sure, but a welcome one. A woman then advises him to decide whether to save humanity by saving Vermeil, or to let Vermeil die by saving humanity. He wakes up anxious about his approaching exam, so Vermeil kisses him to first supercharge, and then drain his anxiety. One of those kinds of women in my life, truly. Attending the exam are students from across the nation. The professor exhibits a crystal ball with a flame within, and instructs them to add mana to the flame in order to strengthen the fire. Many students attempt it, but they're unable to affect the flame and fall short. Lilia understands the reason is that they're concentrating their mana on the crystal rather than the flame. She can simply make the flame large. Marks only just manages to influence it and pass, while Cheryl and a student from another school help to fan the flame. Alto is last. He understands that one can pour mana more readily by approaching the crystal from behind. But Vermeil urges him to show off, and so he does, and causes the flame to be so large that it breaks the crystal. He says sorry, but the teacher says he passes. I mean, it's only fair that Alto gets to show off too every once in a while. Vermeil shouldn't have all the fun now, should she? Before the written test, Alto and his buddies go on a picnic to boost each other's morale. Alto's almost late as Vermeil drags him into a hallway for a kiss. The kid from the other school complains about Alto's braggadocio while using the restroom, but Lolite sneaks in, kills him, and then steals his test ticket. Elena and Jessica are practicing fencing in the meantime. After Elena triumphs, they talk about Alto and Vermeil while taking a shower. Vermeil must wait outside while Alto enters the test room. Alto is seated next to Lolite, who enters and wishes him good luck. Vermeil is sitting outside in boredom while she recalls Alto's assurances of her safety. Alto panics when Lolite nods off as soon as the test begins, but focuses on passing it. Lolite eventually gets out of bed, finishes the test in a matter of seconds, and then makes fun of Alto for being slow. A guard reports finding the deceased student's body while the professor chastises him for chatting, at which point he knows Lolite is not a student. Lolite claims to have taken the exam merely for amusement before conjuring a stone golem to trample the professor's legs. Violence has truly begun. And hell yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. Vermeil and the instructor from the first exam arrive, as all of the pupils leave with the exception of Alto. Lilia, Marks, and Cheryl are coerced out of the building by guards, but as they try to return, a space warp throws them back outside. Despite all their assaults, the golem manages to seize Vermeil. That's a first. Maybe because her muse isn't here, huh? Lolite summons more golems and impales Alto's shoulder as he screams with wrath and smashes the golem. When Alto inquires about their desires, the man replies that his gang plans to wipe out the human race using demons. Vermeil transforms into a monster, but Lolite quickly takes care of her. He attempts to kill Alto, but the book he used to conjure Vermeil protects him. And then the dream woman materializes. She asserts that she is the remembrance of Vermeil's sealer, the mage of the beginning. In response to Lolite's attempt to assault, she stops time and sends Alto into Vermeil's memories. A young Vermeil is playing joyfully when he finds himself 550 years in the past. According to the mage of the beginning, Vermeil and the orphans, Miel, Lynn, and Kate, were all fostered by nuns. She was a demon, but they didn't care. The townspeople became enraged and besieged the church after discovering Vermeil was a demon. She was then held responsible for a plague that struck the nation. Vermeil was persuaded to flee by Miel, and she came close before she overheard someone threaten to destroy her family. Her family had been hanged when she turned around, but it was too late. This took an extremely dark turn. She lost her cool as the mob closed in on her, turned into a monster form, and for the first time slaughtered everyone and set the town on fire. The mage claims that this was her guilt and the reason she was sealed, as Alto is horrified by what he had seen. Alto interacts with Vermeil and consoles her after discovering he can. She changes into adult Vermeil and sobs because her crime cannot be undone. But he dismisses her sorrows and gives her a passionate kiss. He proclaims his love for her as they come back to the real world. They urge Lolite to stop talking and unite their powers to defeat the enormous golem that he summoned, and claim Vermeil's only goal is to destroy the world. A gateway allows Heliodor and Lolite to flee after she states she can no longer sustain the space warp. The mage of the beginning, according to Vermeil, is Fatima. Alto is urged to take care of Vermeil by Fatima, who describes Vermeil as a close friend. Fatima then fixes the structure before vanishing. Later, Alto receives fencing and martial arts instruction from Jessica and Chris in an effort to grow stronger so he can defend Vermeil. Due to his inexperience and lack of strength, he's easily defeated in sparring, but he strives to get better. When the two of them are in bed, Vermeil declares her love for him in bed. They all concur when Elena states in a student council meeting that they must band together to stop these assaults. All three of Lilia's test takers, Marks, Cheryl, and them, passed, but when Alto doesn't appear, Lilia becomes suspicious that he might be seeing Vermeil. Indeed, they're sharing a public kiss as they celebrate their love and commitment to one another. This was a weird one, but honestly not bad at all. I think it's one of the more peculiar anime, even though it has some of the classic tropes we expect from the demon and familiar type shows. It's darker, grittier, and much more explicit, which is rare when it comes to good anime. So a round of applause nonetheless. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.